right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. We got a great show for you. We actually have, dare I say it, a great week lined up for you. I am very excited to take your calls. So grab a pen, write down the number. You think I wouldn't have to look right at this point in the game. 253-263-1540, 253-263-1540. I'm supposed to be streaming on YouTube. I tried something new here at the last minute, and it didn't do the thing. So we are live on TikTok. We'll upload this to YouTube later. Welcome to the show. I look forward to speaking to you again. We got a great week lined up, and there's so much to talk about. This is show number 50, podcast number 50. Can you believe that? We've already hit our 50th episode. Good morning, everybody on TikTok. We're supposed to be live on YouTube, and I set it up for that, and I hit record, and now it won't let me hit live. And I'm doing something a little different. Testing new technology as always. But good morning. Good morning. I look forward to taking your calls. What a full agenda we have to talk about this morning. What a full agenda. Again, episode 50. You know, the reason this show is not named Disney Parks DIY, the reason the show is named Under the Influence, is I wanted to start talking to other content creators, and I wanted to get a sense of their process. And I wanted to not just talk to content creators, but talk to anybody that would be categorized as an influencer and talk to them about their process, about the world that they influence. And we've started to do things as we have gotten halfway to 100 episodes. We've started to do things with the conversation that are really putting us in the sweet spot, as it were. I'll talk a little later in the show about some AI breakthroughs that I was reading about over the weekend. And we spoke to Jonathan Curl from Robotis. He is a robotics expert, a technician. And we talked about the implementation of physical AI. And there was some news about some breakthroughs in AI that are quite impactful in terms of business and in terms of the marketplace. The NVIDIA stock is down because of this news. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll take your calls, 253-263-1540. Supposed to be live on YouTube. You can see, you can't see because you're not watching on YouTube, but I'm using an AI background. And there's no green screen behind me. And it works. It's like 98%, but I'm looking at it and I keep seeing the pillows on my couch pop up behind my head. So, it's better than nothing, and I'm testing it out. And I'll use it tomorrow for the pre-recorded interview, so I apologize for not being live on YouTube at the moment. Relax. I'll upload it later. You can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts, Under the Influence. But that's why the title was Under the Influence. I wanted to widen the conversation beyond Disney. And then, interestingly enough, it all starts to intertwine. It looks like Bob Iger is eyeing politics again. So it starts to intertwine in the world. But I got to start with something. I mean, listen, you always got to start with something. Isn't that how that works? Now you're going to see a McDonald's coffee cup. Don't panic. There's no problem with Dunkin'. Well, maybe there is, but there's no problem from my vantage point. First of all, the French cooler's back. French cooler's back. It's not the same recipe. I don't know if it was a cost-cutting measure. I don't know if it was a quality. They call it quality, but it's probably cost, right? And It's not the same recipe. I took one bite of this French cruller, and I could immediately tell that it was changed. It is not as light and fluffy and airy. It's a little denser. It's not as it used to almost feel like it had a filling to it. Like it was so airy, it felt like it had a creamy filling, even though it didn't. And it's lost all of that. Number one. Number two. Oh my God, the drama at this Dunkin' Donuts. I walked in there the other day, and I mean, like, hello, good morning. These people, I mean, I got, and I don't mind, but this poor kid started pouring his heart out to me. He's venting to me. You know? I'm not even going to say what he said in case he's listening to this. Not him. Anybody listening to this podcast that goes there, works there. But I mean, this poor kid thought he was going to have a meltdown. You know, he thought he showed up to work on time, and he didn't. You know, he showed up 2 minutes before he was supposed to start. And I tried to very nicely explain to him that he might not be completely correct. But I don't know why he chose to tell me. But oh my God, I'm on the receiving end of this thing. And I started thinking about it after I left. And I'm like, you know, this kid was late. Showing up 2 minutes before you're about to start the job means, especially if you're not communicating, it means whomever you're reporting to has the expectation you're not coming to work today. I wasn't going to go there. I just wanted to get my ice black coffee and get back to work. But I thought about it for like way too long, like everything else with this fakakta Dunkin' Donuts. So the recipe's changed. Tensions are high. I went to McDonald's this morning. It just seemed easier. You know, in Italian, dintafada, in or out. I don't want to stay. Get in, get out. Probably not the right word to use, but I know like 3 words of Italian. So 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. I think I gave out the wrong phone number earlier. Clearly, McDonald's coffee isn't good as Dunkin'. But it is episode 50. That's an accomplishment unto itself. I'm eyeing this AI background right now, and I'm not really liking what I'm seeing, but I'd rather test it out today with no guest and have it dialed in for tomorrow. How's the signal on TikTok? Is everybody doing good over there? I feel like right now, what I need to do in this current state of all things, once I get this technology dialed in, okay, is to really just kind of put TikTok on ice. Like, I was reading the headlines this morning, again, from over the weekend, and like every other paragraph as relates to TikTok had the word unknown in it. And if that doesn't sum it up in a nutshell, you know, this is why I started focusing on the podcast when I did. A, because I already wanted to widen what I was doing and increase the quality. But you knew this was going to happen. Maybe not quite the way it has happened, but the idea that TikTok could go away or not be the same is a major difference. And as I expressed yesterday, the creator side of it has already felt a hit. By not being in the App Store, it impedes the ability for people to transact. And if you know anything about conversion rates, when people can't do things the easy way, less people tend to do them. You know? And it's funny how this all ties together, because the other day I was like, well, maybe should I sell some stock? Maybe I'll just sell some stock and make a couple bucks, and I can, you know, I'll be good for the end of the month, you know? And I'm like, no, Nvidia's down. This is the worst time. You know? And Disney stock is down for all intent and purpose. It's up, but it's down. Figure it out. But every paragraph, I have it, it's like, it's literally. So first you hear that the sale of TikTok is without the algorithm. Okay, that's the first thing they say. But then they kind of walk that back because, again, uncertainty. So former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said in March last year he was working to pool investors. Okay, this article is from, I think, this morning. Trump has repeatedly floated the idea that the U.S. could have 50% ownership, though those terms of an arrangement are unclear. And it goes on to further opine on the lack of clarity. And then this next section, the headline of this next section, the title of this paragraph, what we don't know, should just say everything underneath it. Whether Congress will agree to the deal presented by the White House, the bipartisan law mandates a, quote, qualified divestiture from ByteDance, language the Trump administration could broadly interpret, but still requires congressional approval. It's unclear how the new owners will fully eliminate ByteDance's influence over the app, NPR reported, citing Brookings Institution fellow Sarah Krebs, who cast doubt on the possibility that, quote, Chinese control of data and the algorithm, unquote, will be wholly absolved. Chinese regulators must also approve the deal and recently suggested they are open to doing so after years of opposition. Cast doubts. Unclear. What we don't know. Broadly interpret. It's unclear how. See what I'm saying? How can you take any of this? I mean, you can't take it seriously to the extent that you can't rely on it. So I feel like rather than play the game, I will pass my own act of Congress and ban it from my app store. What do I really mean? I just think I'm going to post a lot of videos and try to make some money coming out of China's pocket and not expect the audience to go race to the browser to give money to China and me. There's other ways to support me. You know how to do it. I'm not going to even tell you how to do it. If you really want to support me, you'll figure it out. If you don't, that's fine too. I'll figure it out too. I'm just not going to lower my moral standards when it comes to what I call patriotism. Because again, the idea that we as Americans are going to give into propaganda from any other country is BS. And I am firm on that stance. So I will wait to see what happens with the app before I wholly divest, before I wholly absolve myself. I will wait. But we got lots to do. Big interview tomorrow. We're supposed to be live on YouTube. We're not. I'm using an AI background. I hit the record button, and it won't let me go live after I hit record. I should have hit live first. And it's kind of driving me crazy because my pillows keep popping up in the background a little bit. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. But in many ways, I'm just testing something new. So there's lots of new things happening. And to that point, I have to say, I said I'd talk about AI later, and that's a different category. And the only reason I'm going to bring up AI again right now is because it pertains to this conversation of content and platforms. I have, with the time that I've had to develop and redevelop this operation, I have implemented 3 to 4 different AI toolkits that have basically replaced people who said they were going to help me. And it's remarkable because anybody that is offering up help now can help in much more valuable ways and smaller, more valuable ways than the kind of things that I'm talking about, whether it's help with editing, whether it's help with organization of ideas, it is amazing to me how I'm using AI to do audio mixing. I used to go to Nick and be like, Nick, can you help me fix this? I got some background noise in here. What do you suggest I do? Now I just upload it to an AI platform. Then I would say, oh, can, somebody help me write a description, because I don't have time to do all this stuff. Now AI writes the description. All I got to do is an edit. Thank you, Mike. I just got a Venmo from Mike. That's very generous. I was wondering who was texting me and yelling at me for saying they've been replaced by AI. It was not Mike. Thank you. Very kind. So I'm using AI to clean audio up. I'm using AI to transcribe and summarize. I'm using AI to extrapolate. I'm using AI to assist with editing, and I'm using AI to caption videos. It still takes a lot of time, but I'm prepped today to finish probably 10 videos. Most of them are done. They just got to be uploaded and finessed. And I can put them out at different places. So it really is, when you talk about taking the time to go backwards, to go forward, it really is kind of amazing when you get to learn new things and discover what's out there. And for those that are afraid of the idea of artificial intelligence and where it may replace jobs, that is one conversation. But I will tell you, as a toolkit for me, I'm using AI like a digital Leatherman. You know what I mean? Truly. I'm using it as an intern. And it's remarkable that I can use software like I'm using right now for what will go up on YouTube. It should have been live. I apologize. And I'm sure somebody will complain. I always get one complaint. I went to YouTube. He wasn't there. I went to TikTok. He wasn't there. I was on Twitter. Where was he? I was standing at the entrance to Epcot. Didn't see him there either. I was everywhere. Where were you? Relax. I apologize. I'm one person. But with all this stuff that we've worked towards building, the implementation of all the live streaming tech, and then you add the AI workflow to it, it is really the ability to do all the things that I've set out to do over the last few months, and it's finally being realized. And as I stated yesterday, the last thing I want to do is introduce any chaos into that equation. I've been trying to do the opposite. Reduce the chaos on a variety of levels. Mainly, I'm talking about the chaos as pertaining to TikTok and the fate of TikTok, because what are we, 70, 60 some odd days away? And who even knows? Who even knows if it gets resolved? The way these people play games, it'll go on for another 2 years. It'll go on for another 2 years. It's absurd. So that's where I'm at with all of that. And they go back and forth. The algorithm will stay. The algorithm will go. Look, irrespective of all of that, there's a lot we don't know. And there seems to be no desire to clear any of it up. And it's just indicative of where we're going to be the next 4 years in terms of receiving information, because it's dribs and drabs. What we know, what we don't know. Now, I'm going to go on a little rant again, mainly because I'm live, and I know some people probably missed it yesterday. But what I can't comprehend about the Walt Disney Company, and yes, I'm shifting gears, what I cannot comprehend about the Walt Disney Company is how there is nobody within the ranking of leadership, within the ranks of leadership, that can stand up and say, we have all of this land, why aren't we using some of it? I understand the desire to do new things, to introduce new IP. But again, replacing Muppets with monsters is absurd. You can have both. And then people go, oh, well, look how empty the Muppet Theater is, which it hasn't been lately, obviously. But one of the arguments is, well, look how empty it is. It's always empty. Well, it's because they're not doing anything with the property. But unlike Monsters, Inc., unlike Pixar, which is a company, which is a corporate institution, the Muppets began with a man. Okay? And Pixar really didn't start that way. All right? Pixar is much more a product of a company, and albeit in its heyday, a fantastic one. But even Monsters, Inc., which, again, isn't their top Pixar property, but even something like Monsters, Inc. doesn't scratch the surface of what the Muppets have to offer. So the underutilization of the Muppets doesn't undervalue Jim Henson's legacy. The fact that you have one attraction there that may not be fully occupied all the time because you're not doing anything to bring people into that space because it's basically the only thing other than two restaurants that exist in that courtyard because you chose not to invest further in the property you acquired. You can have two different conversations. One does not have to have anything to do with the other. You can preserve Jim Henson's legacy. You can still change the park. You can still add monsters. But I would argue that Muppet Vision 3D, if it's leaving Disney World, should have gone to the Smithsonian. That's the only other place it belongs. Muppet Vision 3D should have been uprooted to the Smithsonian. It should have been they should have had a ceremony. They could have made it a Disney Plus special. They could have literally showed that thing being driven up to Washington, D.C. I mean, they could have made a whole thing out of it. Where's the vision in the company? Even if you're going to get rid of it, you could have honored it. And they put out the same press statement. Oh, we're still having meaningful conversations about how to preserve pieces of it. Okay. I'll believe that when I see it, which I won't, because I won't. I know people have opinions on this, so give me a call, 253-263-1540, 253-263-1540. Why not have both? Why not have both? And I can't imagine anybody really thinking that Monsters, Inc. is a stronger property than the Muppets. It's already 20 years old. You're not replacing it with something fresh. I would say Monsters, Inc. is stale compared to the Muppets. The Muppets just might be idle. The difference between Monsters, Inc. and the Muppets is the impact in the culture. At one time, the Muppets were massive. Massive. I mean, like, at a level that Mike and Sully will never be, right? I mean, Kermit the Frog at one point was closer to Mickey Mouse. You know, Jim Henson is a rare individual. That we're not talking about your average CEO here. We're not talking about a John Lasseter. We're not talking even about a George Lucas. We're talking about Jim Henson. Guy was like a teenager when he started with this stuff. First Kermit the Frog was made out of an old rain jacket. Sam and Friends. It was local television. I mean, he scrapped his way up. I know I talked about it yesterday, but I am I love Walt Disney. I love Walt Disney. But my entire childhood was a Jim Henson childhood as much as it was a Walt Disney childhood. And in many ways, more. From the Muppet Babies to Sesame Street to Fraggle Rock to Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal, the Muppet movies, the Muppet Show. So part of it is really just about respecting the legacy of a man. And I don't care if you take it out of the park at this point because you obviously don't have any respect for the property and have no desire to invest in it. Fine. But at least have an exit strategy. Any good business person implements an exit strategy. And you have no exit strategy. Bob Iger is a disgrace. Bob Iger is a disgrace. And I really am starting to believe what I once did not believe, which that he is purposely tearing down anything Michael Eisner touched because he does not like Michael Eisner and he wants to erase anything Michael Eisner had to do with the Walt Disney Company and cement his legacy everywhere before leaving. I never thought that was a thing. But if you go back and you read Keys to the Kingdom, if you go and you read any of these books about how these guys operate at that level and how much ego is behind the decisions they make, then it all makes sense. And I really didn't buy that, but look at it. Anything that is being ripped out is being replaced with something from the Iger era, Pixar forward. All right. Now, some of it I have no issue with. I if you do it right, an Indiana Jones ride in Animal Kingdom, I've been saying that for years. But you don't have to gut everything. You have the blessing of size. And Walt talks about plussing the parks. So square all of that. Square plussing the parks with the blessing of size. So if you're devaluing the park, if you're gutting things in the exchange for a cheap retheme, you're not plussing. And if you're not expanding, you are certainly not utilizing the fact that your founder gave you the blessing of size. He knew what he was doing. The difference is he didn't want to run a business that was predicated on sequelization and data and shareholders. He wanted to break new ground. So the Florida project was all about Progress City. He didn't want to build another Disneyland. He'd done that already. Why do the same thing twice? This company is not just cookie cutter, but it's inconsistent. This Bob Iger's version of the Walt Disney Company, and yes, I am starting to toe that line, is no, I mean, it's not even cookie cutter in a good way. It is just randomized cookie cutting. In other words, you've got Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, and then Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. And then also in Hollywood Studios, you've got Star Tours. But it's not connected. And now you're going to have Monsters, Inc. over here and Toy Story back there with a Pixar courtyard in the middle. It's not connected. There's no thematic integrity. Well, people don't care about that, Royce. Don't you understand you're old? Don't you understand that people people judge their theme park experience by how much fun they're having, how many rides they can get on, and how little they wait in line? Yes. But don't you understand that status quo is how we thwart innovation? And that daring to be different is how we got Disney in the first place? And your desire to be complacent and go along with anything and everything you see is the reason we will never see the likes of another Walt Disney or a Jim Henson again? Because we have accepted mediocrity? Because your idea of entertainment is watching bite-sized videos, scrolling all day, and I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not just casting stones. We all get caught up in this culture. It's the spread of information too fast. And what we forget to do is take a moment to stop and understand the value of things. We're so quick to tear everything down, we don't stop to appreciate. You have all the land in the world to expand and do whatever you want, however you want, with as much thematic integrity as possible. You could do whatever you want. You could build Bob Iger land for all you want, which would just be Pixar land. But you could do it, and in many ways you probably should. Now, I understand why they want to get rid of Rivers of America. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, nor should they do it. But it was an operational choice. You see, somebody said, we're tired of maintaining this island, and this waterway is a cost. And they said, okay, well, let's do something about it. And this is the option they settled on. So it's not too late to solve that issue. Here's how you solve the Rivers of America crisis. Okay, I told you how to solve Muppet Vision 3D. It's gone. It's leaving. Package it up and send it to the Smithsonian, Bob. You want to be involved in politics? Pick up the phone, figure out who the hell you got to call at the Smithsonian, pack up Muppet Vision 3D, and donate it to the Smithsonian. Problem solved. You're welcome. Now, as far as the Rivers of America is concerned, get rid of the island, truncate the river so that everything up to the edge of Big Thunder Mountain and the back of the Haunted Mansion queue is water. You can preserve the front little bit of the island for the visual aesthetic. You can dock the Liberty Bell so it doesn't get operated, so you don't have to deal with the operational issues, but it can still be there and be lit up at night and sit there preserved on the dock and represent something. Maybe even put performers on there every once in a while and have some live music. But you can preserve the front little bit of water there, okay, and still have the ability to let people go from the back of Thunder Mountain into an expanded area, and from between the Haunted Mansion and the back of Small World and all that nonsense back there, you can figure out something, even if it's got to be all the way over at Storybook Circus. I really don't care, because I know there's show buildings back there. But somewhere you can figure out another entry point. It doesn't have to be coming off of Liberty Square in the Haunted Mansion. You can do something back there by Big Thunder Mountain, and if people got to walk, God forbid, all the way over past Small World and over by Beauty and the Beast restaurant to possibly get back to another expanded land, it'll only do good for them. Most people I see in Disney World could use the extra few steps, okay? Real talk. 253-263-1540, 253-263-1540. So you can keep the front-facing aesthetic. You can get rid of everything behind it and use the land for your precious projects. All right? You can have a walkway, even if it's a bridge, back by the geyser where Big Thunder Mountain is, where the exit to Big Thunder Mountain is. And then you can find another walkway somewhere on the other side of Pinocchio's village house, somewhere back there. I'm sure there's a spot. You can also get rid of Storybook Circus and then just make everything go around the back. I mean, Storybook Circus, come on. Storybook Circus is 7 steps ahead of Dino Land, okay? Don't touch Dumbo. But Storybook Circus could go. All right? You want to do – nobody cares if you get rid of Storybook Circus. Keep the Barnstormer, keep Dumbo, but everything from that area back, all those fakakta tents that are just taking up space for meet and greets. What a waste of space for meet and greets and slushies. Do something. You're welcome. I've solved all your problems. Why is Leah texting me? I'm in the middle of doing a radio show. Why is Leah texting me? What is going on? Oh, somebody. So there's a Marjorie Taylor Greene superfan trolling in TikTok right now. It's being brought to my attention. I mean, is that even really a thing? So now I have to lean forward and I have to block said person, or do I just leave them for the engagement? Because I don't think anybody cares. Imagine being so broken as a person that your form of entertainment is to troll strangers on the internet. Imagine being so damaged that the only way that you can somehow enjoy your day is to tear other people down. Isn't that something? Isn't that a gift? A gift of sadness as I vamp here. Good for you. Congratulations. Now I got to pull out the other phone, and now I got to scroll back. See, I agree. Look, I don't care if Dino goes. Like, I don't really care if Dino Land goes. Now I got to wait for this idiot. Can you troll again, please, so I can block you? Thank you. Now you're ruining my radio show. I don't have moderators. Listen, yeah, well, Leah, I don't care. Let them troll. Who cares? It only makes them look pathetic. But now it's effing with my flow. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do a thing here. I'm trying to do a thing, and now I'm stuck watching TikTok. I'm on TikTok watching TikTok. This is absurd. Well, I'm stuck in a loop. I don't want to do this anymore. Let them troll. I don't care. Let them troll. It's engagement. I'll take it. If they got that much time on their hands, they can go to the browser and subscribe. 253-263-1540. I think that's the number. I don't know. I'm trying to do a radio show. I'm getting a text message that somebody's trolling. Thank you, Leah. Do you really think in the middle of me doing a radio show, you texting me about the activity in the comments on the live stream is really a good use of my time? Do you really think me doing in the middle of a radio show, me stopping to pick up the phone, reading a text message from you about somebody trolling? I thought you didn't even watch the radio show. You told me you don't even want to listen to people call because they're boring and you don't want to hear what they have to say. So what are you doing here in the first place? And I'm trying to talk. I don't even know what I was talking about. Now I'm just yelling at you because I forget what I was supposed to be talking about. I closed my phone. I had my notes open. Dude, I'm in the middle of a radio show and you text me. This isn't me playing Fortnite. I'm trying to keep the ball in the air and this girl's texting me. I don't even know what I was supposed to talk about. Unbelievable. This is why I won't do tomorrow's interview live. I'll be damned if I'll be doing tomorrow's interview live and have it interrupted by Leah. Royce, I got a message. Somebody wants to know why you unfollowed them. Why are you texting me about this? Every day this girl's texting me about remember, she doesn't want to listen to the radio show because she doesn't want to hear what people have to say because she thinks they're all boring. But then she texts me about the messages they're sending her. Like she's making me suffer with her. Why? I'm trying to do a radio show and this girl's texting me. It's like, why don't you just call in? Just call in. Oh, hey, Royce, I just wanted to call in and let you know to check the comments. You might need to do some moderation. Somebody's making fat jokes. And they're a Marjorie Taylor Greene superfan. Thanks, Leah. I'm still vamping. What was I talking about? Blessing of size. That's the blessing of size. I mean, what is wrong with these people? I just hope that eventually we get somebody that comes into the Walt Disney Company and does what Bob Iger did when he first came into the company. Because if you remember, at the end of Eisner's tenure, he started doing a lot of cheap things. California Adventure, the second gate in Paris. And then Iger came in and committed billions of dollars to plussing those things. He fixed California Adventure. I mean, there was a lot of money wasted, the whole story of the S. If you don't know the story of the S, they spent so much money taking the S off of Disney's California Adventure. But I digress. He came in and he solved a lot of those problems. So it's not impossible for somebody to come in and say, we're going to reverse course. Even if they go as far as to put in this dumb Cars ride, it's not crazy for somebody to come in and reverse course. It would take bold vision, and it would take having a lot of people to back you, and it would take a lot of money. And it's not going to happen with everything, and it's not going to happen with Muppet Vision. But I'd like to think at some point there's somebody that's going to come into the company and try to restore a little bit of the founder's legacy, a little understanding and appreciation, a little respect. The kind of respect that I want from somebody who has my phone number when I'm in the middle of doing a radio show. You know, wait till afterwards to text me. Find Joe Coconut and have Joe Coconut take care of it. The hell are you bothering me for? I'm 41 minutes in. I feel like I've done 3 hours already. I'm ready to pass out. 253-263-1540. I wouldn't want to call in either. 253-263-1540. And these fakakta pillows keep popping up in the AI background. I got to sort that out. It's too much. So much of Disney World is going to be shut down on top of all of this, right? So not only are they making all these horrible decisions, they're charging more than ever, and they're going to have less offerings than ever. Here's a list. T-Spin, that's a Triceratops spin. Eventually all of Dinoland. Big Thunder Mountain, Hall of Presidents, Grand Fiesta Tour, Test Track, temporarily Kali River Rapids. Eventually the People Mover, Astro Orbiter. Eventually Rock and Roller Coaster, Lightning McQueen's Show. Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers eventually. A lot of this is already down. More of this is coming very, very soon. So you are going to go into a park like Hollywood Studios, and it's going to be mostly dead zones. Hollywood Studios is basically going to be Sunset Boulevard, Mickey and Minnie's, Toy Story Land, and Galaxy's Edge. Got another message. Another message. You got to send me another message after I said all that. 253-263-1540. Charging more than ever, offering less. And it really does seem like it's a panic response to Epic Universe, which is another wild concept to me. I know there was plans pre-pandemic to do a lot of different things that never came through. And it's sad to me that some of that didn't get revisited. You know, there was supposed to be a Mary Poppins walkthrough. It wasn't a ride, but it was going to be a walkthrough attraction. There was supposed to be an upgrade to Spaceship Earth. You know, in many ways, I'm glad that there wasn't, because at this rate, with this kind of quality, with this kind of output, you don't want to see them touch stuff like that. But also, you know, you had a plan pre-pandemic, and you've deviated from it to a certain extent. You invested in a Star Wars hotel that made 0 sense. Okay. And if you've seen that like 10-hour video that girl did, I mean, she hit the nail on the head. They took all the things that were going to make Galaxy's Edge really, really cool and put them behind a paywall. And she nailed it. She nailed it. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Just go watch the beginning and the end. It's 10 hours. But she nailed it. And it saddens me because there's enough going on, even though we've gotten to the point where it's all about streaming and the tiles. What do I mean by the tiles? Marvel, Star Wars, Nat Geo, Pixar, whatever. Despite that is now the race, that is the game that's being played, the streaming game, the arms race. It can still be done with thematic integrity. Like you still, like I've said this 100 times, I'm going to say it again. You could have taken what you started with Toy Story Land and widened that out and created basically a horseshoe behind the park that would have doubled as a Pixar land, right? So you could have been still within the bounds of a movie-themed park, and you could have used land that's sitting wide open in a parking lot. You could have solved the animation courtyard problem. At this point, you would have just made Rock and Roller Coaster a Monsters, Inc. ride. So what? Problem solved, right? Could have done it. Could have done it. And then you could have expanded upon Muppets. You could have added something else back there, right? And you chose not to do it. You could have just done like a Muppet Dark Ride. Didn't even have to go crazy. You could have called up Sally Dark Rides and said, hey, Sally Dark Rides, build us a Muppet ride. We don't really have the desire to do it. And Sally Dark Rides would have been like, we got you. It's a lack of care. It's a lack of consideration. It's lazy. And quite frankly, most of it's just honestly, it's just fear-based. It's fear-based decision-making. When you are sitting at the top of a company like the Walt Disney Company, you're going to lean on data. You're going to lean on the data because when you fail, you can point to the data and say, well, you would have done the same thing. And nobody's going to argue with that. So data provides a false sense of security. And then a guy like Bob Iger can constantly point to the data to justify his mistakes. Okay? Forget the successes. It justifies the mistakes. And if the guy is seriously just trying to cement his legacy and undo the legacy of his predecessor, whatever's left of that, if there was any, because it was there, but it was ingratiated by it was just it was in the fiber of the company. I really do believe that Michael Eisner understood the Walt Disney Company. Right? So it was in there. It wasn't overlaid. It was ingrained, even at its worst. Lack of consideration, ego-driven, fear-based decision-making. And what that results in is a bunch of hodgepodge. And it's sad to say it, but Epcot's become that. And, you have the World Showcase. That is probably the beacon of light in Epcot. But Epcot's become that. And the Magic Kingdom will become that with this Cars edition. And the Villains Annex, which will be the equivalent of Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. Which is fine. We've all want villains. I just want it to be done right. I think we all wanted a villains theme park for too long. So now the idea that we're going to get a villains land that is not going to deliver on the premise, I think considering everything else that the company has done, it should give you great pause because this all seems like a reaction to Epic Universe and not in a healthy way. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, Royce. Christy.
Hey, now.
I was going to respond to, or more or less agree.
Hi. Can't talk to you if you don't talk to me. I don't know. You wouldn't have been able to hear it on TikTok anyway. At the moment, the way I was doing it was the phone lines were getting piped out to YouTube, and I'm recording it. So such is life. I say all the time that there's more important things to worry about than the future of the Walt Disney Company or a theme park for that matter. And I think part of that for me is just the simple fact that I've thrown my hands up. I mean, when you see sites like DFB and some of these other legacy content sites, these legacy Disney content sites that have been on YouTube and elsewhere forever, when you see them reacting the way they are to some of these decisions, you know Disney is probably in many ways trying to purposely shed a type of guest, type of consumer. I mean, it just seems purposeful. Like they are almost trying, it almost seems like they're like, how much of our core audience can we piss off in exchange for people that don't care about the expensive stuff, so we can just bring in the lower quality of customer, the lower quality of guests, create a cheaper experience, and up our profit margins. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, Royce. This is Free. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Hello? Hello?
Hola, ¿cómo está? Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Are you there?
I'm here. Hello?
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 Hello? Who's this?
Hi, hello? Oh, no.
What?
It's Free.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to call in because I know it's been a while since I called in, but I definitely wanted to say I definitely do agree with the whole. I'm kind of scared. I know personally, I'm kind of scared to see how the parks are going because I don't think just don't want to see the Muppets go away.
It's a bummer. I saw a picture that the place was packed the other night. You know, it's a bummer. But what are we going to do? Because I remember I used to always I grew up wanting to always go to Level 3. I would drag my parents into that attraction, and granted, we are going to get a Muppets retheme of Rock and Roller Coaster, but I know you said it before, it's not going to be the Jim Henson's Muppet, and I feel like that's what a lot of people are forgetting. Well, not only is the Rock and Roller Coaster retheme not going to be Jim Henson's Muppets, it'll be Disney's interpretation. It'll be mostly the Electric Mayhem, I would imagine, and musical guests. So I can't. It's just, to me, what is it? It's going to look like some sort of like High School Musical ride. Was what I feel like we're going to wind up getting.
And granted, I only read Rock and Roller Coaster a few times, maybe because it was either closed or had long lines every time I went there. But a lot of people are hemming for retheming, but is it going to be like consistently like good quality like it used to be, or is it just like it's just trying to go where the money goes? Because I know at the end of the day, Disney's a business, but they're definitely, in my opinion, blinded by grabbing as much money as they can. But that's just my opinion.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, and while you say it's just your opinion, I mean, Bree, I think in many ways you represent the average Disney consumer, right? I mean, I've met you. You love the place, and you buy the ears, you do the whole thing. And if you feel that way, there's no way you're alone. And obviously, you go out on social media and you read it, and people will say, well, that's just the sampling, and the loudest people always break through. But I don't think – I have to believe that more people feel the way you do. Like the most passionate Disney consumer, guest, whatever you want to call it, feeling that way has to have really bad long-term implications for the brand. I mean, do you feel that that's impacting like your next trip or the way that you vacation there, or maybe a desire to go to some, everybody talks about Epic. I'm not going to pretend like that's the only thing in Orlando, but has any of this impacted your desire to go to Disney World or the way you do it?
To be honest, I never really thought of it that way, but it kind of has, because I've been going to Disney for like past few years straight. And then last year I went to Disneyland, but I have much a bigger desire to go to Disneyland, again, mainly because when I went there, granted it was my first time going there, it felt like the Disney World I grew up with. So I definitely do think that it definitely did impact how I go into like how I do vacation, because I'm looking into where I'm going to go this year, and I might be taking a break from. I might be either going to Disneyland or just might be taking a break from Disney altogether this year until I figure out what's going on.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking a break from Disney. I mean, look, it's very expensive. And even if you want to go to another park like Tokyo, which I'm always telling people to go to Tokyo, you got to spend money. And there's other places in the world to see. And I think what Disney has coasted on for so long is that reoccurring business. And they've gotten so greedy. To your point, they've focusing so much on the quick money that they aren't thinking that their most passionate people will turn a blind eye to it, because they've constantly lined up and given it for every price increase. But at a certain point, there is that ceiling. And what you just said, I think, is indicative of where the ceiling lay. Because now you're like, oh, I want to go somewhere this year. In other words, I'm ready to travel. I've been working my butt off. I've been studying, whatever you're up to. I'm ready to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And normally you're like, I'm going to go to Disney. And you're like, well, wait, how much am I spending to go this year? And what am I going to do? Less? And you're like, I've done this 100. Like, in other words, now you can visualize all the things you can't do because you've done them 100 times. And then you go, well, wait a second. Why don't I just go take a trip to another country and go see something I've never seen before? Something that's real, not synthetic. And I don't think Disney has realized that that's actually the competition, not Epic Universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I always used to. I'm even planning on going to New York for a few shows, because I see more. Now, granted, I do New York a lot, but that seems more genuine than how I see the parks going. Because and I even noticed this when I was in Disneyland. They care a little about the cast, but they care more about the money, because you also have the Lightning Lane with the whole Premier Pass, which makes no sense. I remember when Fast Pass was free, and it's just like at the end of the day, yeah, we love Disney, but then it's like, am I putting my money to something that's truly worth it?
Well, that's right, and because you remember what what it used to be like with the Fast Passes and all of that. Yeah, sure, you're willing to pay to a certain extent, but at a certain point, you're gonna, you're just going to throw your hands up in the air. You'd be like, I never used to have to pay for all this, so why am I doing it? In other words, I've done it so many times, I don't need to do it anymore. And it's not that you don't want to do it. You just refuse to waste your money on on something that you never had to spend on before. The whole Lightning Lane experience became an aspect to the parks. It actually became part of the experience. It didn't become a hindrance like using the app has become. The app has become a stress point for people, where getting the ticket was a physical thing, and you got the ticket and you knew what it meant, and it was plain as day. And even though it was new technology and it wasn't the way things were, it was good chain. And it made sense, and it wasn't stressful. It was fun. Oh, I got my tickets. I run up to the thing. I get my tickets. I got to wait in line for 5 seconds. No big deal. It was part of the thing. Where's the Fast Pass station? Like, it still somehow worked. And I remember post-pandemic, the implementation of the app and how it was kind of voluntary, but very, very quickly went from voluntary to necessary. And now you can't go through those parks without the app. It's all happened very, very quickly in just a few years.
Yeah, and granted, I know when I did, one thing I did notice that if you ask me, when it comes to Lightning Lane, I feel like Disneyland kind of uses it more in a better way, where, like, if you get a package, you can buy the Disneyland, like the Lightning Lane with your package, where Disney World, you have to buy it the day of, and you have to basically scramble to make sure, I got it. So you're already spending money in the parks before you even get to the parks, which was kind of draining. So that's why I love Disneyland, where I already had it. I already paid for it, so all we had to do was basically get up at around 6:59 or 6:50, refresh the app, where I wake up in Disney for Disney World and essentially put the money, show the money out for the lightning lane, and then also get make sure I have make sure I get in time for the virtual queue or the lightning lane. So I definitely do agree. Like then they did make that, like they made us very dependent on the app.
Yeah.
But certain parks use it in a good way, where other parks don't use it in a great way. So
and it's constantly changing in Disney World. I don't even know. I mean, they're all every 4 weeks, 6 weeks. There's a modification to the multi-guest / lightning lane product, whatever they call it. You know, it's hard to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that you go on a vacation to Disney World and then when you're done, you need a vacation because it's so stressful. You know, it really
right.
It really is gotten to a point where, and it's sad to say it, but it's really gotten to the point where the company's too big. Yeah, they're unfocused.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to get back to their core principles if they really care. Otherwise, they're not going to make it. I mean, they're trying to compete in a tech space. I talked a little bit about this yesterday, I believe, but they're not a tech company fully.
Right.
And in today's world, all the tech companies are gobbling up the entertainment companies. So Disney's got to figure out where it's headed. And as much as I used to resist the idea of an Apple merger, it might be necessary.
Yeah, I remember you brought up, kept always, when we were at the park, you always bring up the Apple merger. And it's kind of crazy how now you're like, okay, maybe it's time for that because of where the company has been going.
Apple has style and vision. You might not like their products, you know what I mean? They might not have innovated much lately, but, you know, I wouldn't mind walking into a park that had the design aesthetic and design principles of Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Progress City. Let Apple take over Disney World and let them build. Apple would build Progress City. It would be like a giant Apple store that you live in. Doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Right? And you know what's funny, Bree? And I'll leave you with this, and then I should do the ads. And I have actually a teleprompter now, so I'm all professional with the ads.
Oh, look at you!
Thank you. It's one of those things where you know you look at the history of all these guys, right? And it's actually connected, right? So if you look at the Walt Disney Company, all right, you have Disney, right? And then you look at the connective tissue between the Walt Disney Company and animation and Apple, and how that's connected to George Lucas, and how that's connected to Pixar. Like there is and how Nolan Bushnell, who created Atari, is connected into all of that too. There's a connectivity between all of these guys, even if it's just through the different companies. But Pixar started as a Lucasfilm company, became an Apple invested company, then became its own company, and then became a Walt Disney company. So there's this connected aspect to all of it anyway, where and Iger said it, him and Jobs talked about merging companies back then before Jobs passed away. He said if he didn't pass away, it would have happened.
Wow, I actually did not know that.
Yeah, it's all there.
So it definitely might be time. Definitely might be time for that.
Nolan Bushnell, who founded Atari, the guy that created Atari, also created Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he created Chuck E. Cheese is because he saw people making so much money when they would buy his arcade games, okay, that he figured if they're making more money off of them than I am selling them, so let me open up a place where I can operate them and make money, right? So Steve Jobs comes along and offers him to invest in a third of Apple for $50,000, and he's like, I'm a little busy right now. I really can't focus on this. And the dude turned down a third of Apple for $50,000.
Wow.
I mean, Atari and Chuck E. Cheese, that's pretty cool, but it's not Apple.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do remember going to Chuck E. Cheese all the time, but like you said, it's definitely not Apple.
No. But then again, you're talking animatronics, right? And now you're talking. So there's just a whole aspect. Like when you look at all of these guys, they're connected in more ways than one. And it's an era, and it's a dying era. And just to bring it back to the Jim Henson thing, and I'll let you go, and I'm going to do these ads. We got to respect guys like this. These kind of visionaries only come around once in a blue moon. And if we don't honor and respect them and cement their legacy, then we're never going to inspire the next one to come along.
Exactly.
Bree, it's always good to talk to you.
I agree, Mon. Always good to talk to you. I'm glad I was finally able to call in.
Yeah, I am too. I don't know who called in before you because the phone wasn't working, but I'm glad that you got through. Yeah.
As always, and I just want to say, I love the content. I also love seeing how you are expanding, and I'm just loving to see where you're going next. Even if it's not on TikTok, because we all know that's probably on those way out the door, and that's what I'm going to say on that.
Well, see, but Bree, you and I know these things.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, and thank you for sticking with me. It means a lot.
Of course.
We'll talk again.
Thank you for no problem.
No, thank you. I hate this delay, Bree, so much on the phone. So I'm going to give you the last word.
All right, I would say thank you for being your. Honestly, I cannot wait for the next baking stream. That's what I'm going to say.
You can't wait for the what? The next baking stream?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, you just opened up Pandora's box. Okay. No, you know what? I was talking to Colleen about that the other day. That's why I made that joke, because we were talking about that. So you'll get that very soon.
Hey, now it has to happen. Now that I said it has to happen.
It's happening. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Bree. All right. Now we're going to go to the ads. Activate teleprompter. It's a new year, which means it's time to spice up your kitchen. Pampered Chef has all the goodies from spatulas, mandolins, amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker. So spice up your kitchen today. Go to Colleen Herman. Visit pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. And with no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and an incomplete or divided estate and legal fights and fees. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law today for a free consultation for the tools you have available to take care of your home and your estate. So get started today. Contact Russell at RK Law Pro, Russell at RK Law Pro. And last minute shipping from the parks, visit my friends at the UPS store located right behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road. That's 6526 Old Brick Road. And of course, William.bailey is available for all of your travel needs. William provides a customizable experience at competitive rates. Check out William.bailey Travel or fill out the travel form located at Royces.com. Now, the teleprompter went a little faster than desired, so I kind of truncated the ad read. I'll go slower for the second read a little bit later. I'm glad we got the phones sorted out there. 253-263-1540, 253-263-1540. Leah really did throw me off, though. I had notes open, the whole Michigas. So I wanted to bring it back to this AI thing. U.S. stocks were set for a steep sell-off Monday morning this morning after a surprise advancement from a Chinese artificial intelligence company, DeepSeek, threatened the aura of invincibility surrounding America's technology industry. DeepSeek, a one-year-old startup, last week showed off a stunning capability. It presented a ChatGPT-like AI model called R1, which has all the familiar abilities, operating at a fraction of the cost of OpenAI's, Google, or Meta's popular models. The company said it spent just about $5.6 million training its newest AI model, as compared with hundreds of millions or billions of dollars that U.S. companies are spending. U.S. tech stocks, hence the talks, U.S. tech stocks got hammered Monday morning. NVIDIA, the leader of AI chips, whose stock more than doubled in each of the past 2 years, fell 12% in pre-market trading. It goes right back to the conversation I was having with Jonathan Curl at Robotis. We are on the forefront of AI. Generative AI is one thing. Physical AI is a whole another thing. But this kind of breakthrough from a year-old startup is like the equivalent of a company, like reducing the amount of microchips they're using, and I'm just using that in layman's terms, but the ability to be able to pull off what they're pulling off, to be able to be at that scale at such a low cost. Yes, $5.6 million is low. It speaks volumes to how far behind we really are in this country. And I just hope NVIDIA can say something or do something to make that stock go back up. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Roy.
Ellis, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Are you going to boycott the parks or ever go back to the parks? Or I was just curious.
Am I going to boycott the parks?
Uh-huh.
No. Why would I boycott the parks?
Okay. I don't know.
Are you going to boycott the parks?
No.
Boycott's a big word for Elmo. Where did you get the idea of boycotting?
Well, because my mom had mentioned that earlier, that's why she had told me, was going to boycott the parks, and I said, I don't know.
No, there's more important fish to fry in the world than boycotting Walt Disney World, Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boycott. Wow, what a strong take. No, but I think the more appropriate question would have been, am I going to boycott TikTok?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not Disney.
No. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's that. But I'm not going to do that either, as I stated earlier. I mean, everything's on ice for me. And quite frankly, Ellis, there's so many reasons not to be in the parks right now.
Right.
Tell your mom I have a very big interview guest coming on tomorrow. I'm sure she'll know who it is.
Okay.
Okay? And I just find for me at this particular moment, with all the uncertainty, it's easier for me to maintain control of a situation that I've already built. You know, I've implemented all of this technology, and I'm not even using it this last week because I've been so frustrated with everything going on and trying to figure out how I want to play it so that my next 70 days aren't just twisting in the wind. And I know where I'm headed and what I'm doing. And I've been focusing on making some videos. I've been doing some 3D printing stuff. I had a 3D printer jam. I finally fixed that yesterday. I was cranking out something for a video I want to finish today for them. You know, I'm trying to build up my relationships with Robotis and with FlashForge so I can spend more time doing robotics and animatronics and more of the DIY stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason, Ellis, the actual reason that I am not in the theme parks right now is because there's no value in it for me.
Right.
You understand? Anybody that wants to go be in the hold on, let me finish. Anybody that wants to go be in the theme park can go watch 500 different people with the shaky camera. I saw that the other day. I was scrolling. It looked like the Blair Witch Project. It's horrendous. But now you got people who are on vacation who want to play streamer, because that's the culture we're living in. So there's an oversaturation. So if you're really desperate for streams, they're out there. Yeah. But I don't see the value in the moment for me. And part of that has to do with TikTok. Part of that has to do with my desire to create other content and diversify. Part of that has to do with the parks. Part of that has to do with the audience. I mean, some of the people in this audience are crazy, Ellis.
Yeah, I get that.
I know you get that. So the kind of person that only wants to see me ride rides all day long or ride the same ride all day long might not be the kind of customer that I want. And if you're being honest, you got to look at it like that, because even a viewer is a customer. Because even if they're just paying you in likes and shares, it's still a customer experience, right? Right. In other words, this whole content world we're living in is a direct-to-consumer experience. And what I'm trying to do is increase the quality of the experience that I am providing directly to those who choose to consume it. And not everything should be predicated on gifting. Not everything should be predicated on subscribing. And if the app isn't going to be stable enough to provide those tools for me, and I'm already considering diversifying then I'm going to continue down that lane. And like I said, people will find a way to support me. I don't need my audience to be the only revenue stream for me. I would much rather have my revenue come from small businesses who want to advertise on my podcast. I would rather have revenue come from YouTube ads. I would rather diversify my revenue than have to go live on TikTok, give half of my money to China, and ask my audience to constantly do things when the app isn't even providing consistency for them to do it. So it's really a shift in priorities for me. And I don't see the value in being in a theme park right now with everything else going on in the world. I want to have much more valuable conversation.
Right. Now, but what do you mean by the value in the theme park? But not like the rides or the attractions, though, right?
No, when I'm talking about the value in the theme park, I'm talking about the value in the theme park for me.
Okay.
In other words, I'm not going to get the growth. And I can go out there and get the money, but if not everything in life is about money, right? And we talk about how the Walt Disney Company is so short-sighted in their pursuit of money. And if all I'm doing is going to the Disney parks to stream the parks to make money off my audience, that is a loop that I don't want to be stuck in. I have more integrity than that. I have more desire than that. And I've reached a point where it was the moment during the getting ready for the hurricane where everyone was driving me crazy. Yeah. That was the final straw for me because I was in the park and it wasn't good enough. Then I was out of the park. It wasn't good enough. And then I wasn't supposed to be there because a hurricane is coming. Then the hurricane is over. Where are you? And I was like, you people are friggin' nuts. So in many ways, all of this is a big invitation to a lot of people to stop watching. I have basically, by making this move the way I've done it, I've invited a lot of people to stop watching. Guess what? A lot of them have. And I could list I could list 5 people off the top of my mind right now on the tip of my tongue who are no longer watching or engaging, and I am not complaining.
Right.
You know, because no, you're not going to name names, Ellis. Okay.
Okay.
Not naming names.
I'm not going to name
Easy,
names.
Oscar Schindler. All right.
Well, what I was going to say is, but what about when the...
What? What'd you say?
What about when the new touch...
Ellis, I got to go. I got to get on a flight.
Well, no, wait.
Ellis, I got to go. They're boarding. I'll be right there. Hold my plane.
One question.
I got to get on an airplane. I got to go. Because you're going to ask me about going back to the park when Test Track opens. I got to go.
Yeah.
I just explained everything to you. You weren't listening. I got to go. I got to get on an airplane.
I was listening.
I got to get on this airplane right now. Hold my plane.
Okay.
It's Delta. They're going to close the door.
Okay.
I got to go.
Talk to you later.
All right. What were you going to ask me?
Okay.
What were you going to ask me?
I was going to ask, when Test opens in the new villain show, replaces the Lightning McQueen Academy show.
Right. When is it replacing the Lightning McQueen show?
No, I said when it opens, you'll probably be able to go and stream that.
See, I knew that's what you're going to ask me. I knew that's what. So you're just basically all of that to just ask me. You didn't even ask me. You know how passive aggressive that was? Nobody can hear this, so they're going to have to go to YouTube to watch this later. No. You just go. Well, when the new villain show opens up, you'll stream that. No, I won't, Ellis. I was going to stream it, but now that you told me to stream it, I refuse to. Ellis. Ellis, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? What's the word? What did you ask me at the top of the call?
Oh, boycotting.
I am boycotting.
I don't know.
I am boycotting the new villain show specifically.
No.
I am boycotting just the new villain show.
Okay.
And maybe the opening of Test Track. I may boycott that too.
Really?
Yeah, because you pushed me too far. You tipped me over.
No, I did not push you too far.
Listen. I actually am excited to see what they do with Test Track, but all things considered, I do not have high hopes. I loved the old Test Track, Ellis. the hot and cold rooms. Listen, I have so many memories.
Right.
Ellis, you busy? You have a minute? Excuse me, my earbuds fell out. My earbuds. Airbuds, a movie about a dog that plays basketball. Did you know that? Yeah, you're laughing. You find that funny. You busy? You got a minute, Ellis? I don't want to hold you up. What's on your calendar today? Anything?
No.
You not working?
I'm not working.
All right, neither am I. All right. Listen, I remember here was what Disney used to be for me. Okay?
Okay.
I'd go into a park like Epcot, all right? And I would go to Test Track, single rider line. I'd probably go on it 2 or 3 times, break down in the hot or cold room. All right. Stroll over to Mouse Gear, get lost in Mouse Gear for an hour or 2. Go into the electric umbrella, get some chicken fingers. Okay. Go ride Living with the Land, Figment, go play around in the What If Labs. Go stroll through the World Showcase. Watch Illuminations. Nothing was cooler than the globe on fire in Illuminations. Right. These are the memories that I have of the park. And, you know, those are the things that have gotten me this far with my affinity for Walt Disney. And those are the things I hold on to. Those things are gone. And what saddens me is that even over the years when those things would change and evolve, right? Like they modified Test Track. Okay. It was a little weird with the sim track and everything, but I mean, it looked cool. It was kind of Tron-esque, whatever. Yeah. You know, but then they started to slip. And then everything became very, very slapdash. You know, and I think one of the prime examples of slapdash that I'll point to in Epcot is the Frozen overlay. It was accepted because the Frozen excitement was so huge, but the Frozen overlay on Maelstrom is so poorly done. It is so cheap. It is like it's like a garage ride. Right. Thank you for agreeing. And if you remember Maelstrom wasn't just educational, but it was a gorgeous, thought out, highly detailed, intricately presented ride. And what the Frozen ride presents as, even when it's not screens, everything is just like a front-facing little diorama, right? Instead of building this ride with this connected environment, there are these sporadic dioramas throughout the ride track, throughout the ride envelope is the correct term, Ellis. And it's not done well at all. You go to Tokyo, which you refuse to do because you're afraid of airplanes, okay? And
no, I'm not afraid of airplanes.
You're not afraid of airplanes? So why won't you go to Tokyo?
I don't know. I just have nothing to go to Tokyo.
I think you're afraid of airplanes.
I'm not.
I think maybe you are. How do you know?
Because I know I've been on them a bunch of times, and I'm not afraid of them.
Then why won't you go to Tokyo? I told you I would go with you to Tokyo, and you said no.
I don't know.
Do you know how many people? Do you know how many people would out there listening right now would go to Tokyo with me? At least 2, and you're not one of them.
Yeah,
it's fine. I don't want to go to Tokyo with you either. You drive me up a wall.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you don't want to go because you won't ask me about it. I mean, listen, if only everything was a 17-hour plane flight away. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness,
if it was like a plane ride to Disney World, I would go.
If it was like a 6-hour plane ride or something, you'd do it?
Yeah.
But it's just like to have like a little sip of wine. You pass out. You wake up, you're there.
No, I don't want to pass out.
All right. Well, all right. Listen, anyway, what I'm saying is, and you can go watch my video. You've seen it. If you go to Tokyo, Ellis, and you go on the Frozen ride in Tokyo, and you see how insane, and I'm not exaggerating. I was recording the Frozen ride on my iPhone, and I was like, oh my God, like, is this ride ever going to end? I want to put my hand down. Because, I have my hand up filming. Recording, not
Right.
filming. I hate that we say filming. It's recording. There's no emulsion on my iPhone, okay? At least not on the outside.
Okay.
It is such a long ride. It is such a highly detailed ride. It is the whole freaking movie.
Mm-hmm.
You go on that ride, and then it becomes blatant how cheap the retheme was in Epcot.
Well,
But that's where I point to. Ellis, that's just what I point to as the beginning of the real cheap rethemings. Go, please, go.
Right.
What's your thought?
What if they rethemed Fun Ride in Epcot or make it more better like Tokyo?
They can't. There's no space to retheme it to make it better like Tokyo.
Oh.
And why would they do that? Why would, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You need to do it from scratch. The Tokyo ride's gigantic. It's huge. It's just huge.
Mm-hmm.
But I point to that. I point to the retheming of Maelstrom, and I don't even remember. I guess that was done under Bob Iger. It had to have been because it was Frozen, obviously. But I don't even remember what year that was. The Frozen ride must have opened right before the pandemic, I feel like. Because when I was coming to the parks pre-pandemic, the Frozen line would go all the way down to 9 Dragons. And for the longest time, it did.
Yeah.
But I don't remember exactly what it was.
That's probably a popular ride.
It's still a popular ride. Frozen's a popular property.
Yeah.
Ellis, do you have any other questions for me today?
I do not.
You do not. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I just want you to think really long and hard before you answer this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ellis, who put the bop in the bop shabop shabop?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Uh-uh.
Do you know who put the ram in a ram-a-lim ding dong?
No.
Right. Will you look into that and get back to me?
If I can punch those words in, I can.
If you can punch those words in, you will. Well, try your best to punch those words into the Google and see if you could source out that answer, okay?
Okay.
All right, I look forward to that message.
Who put the bop in the shabab?
No, I asked you that. Why are you asking me who put the bop in the bop shabab shabab? I asked you who put the bop in the bop shabab shabab. And then remember the second?
Who put it in.
I'm sorry?
I said, I don't know who put those words in.
Who put the what?
Who put those words in?
But what did they do? What did they put where? What? Who? I'm just repeat it back to me so I know you know how to enter it. Who put the what in the what?
I said, I don't know who put the word shabab in.
Right. But then who put the ram in the ram-a-lim ding dong? That's the second question.
Yeah, I don't know who would do that.
Who would do what?
Who put those words in?
What were the words?
Rama Shadam.
This would be so much funnier for the people on TikTok if they could hear you, but they're going to have to go to YouTube to listen to this later, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, such is life. All right, Ellis, get back to me on that, all right?
All right.
All right, tell your mom I said hi, and tell her the answer to her question is I'm boycotting TikTok. Kind of.
Okay.
Not Disney.
All right. Uh-huh.
In fact, I kind of want to go to Disney and shoot some videos. Like, instead of going live, I want to go shoot some videos.
Okay.
It would upset you greatly if I went to Disney and didn't go live, right?
It would.
It would upset you greatly, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like my whole purpose in life is to go live every time I go to Disney. Hi, Stephanie.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you? I'm good. I just wanted to say good morning. Are you having a good day?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm live, but I'm not live on YouTube, so nobody can hear these calls till later. So, in many ways, say whatever you want because who knows who will hear it.
Or you can edit me out.
I'm not going to edit it out. I just don't have to go to YouTube to get angry about it. So.
Oh, gotcha.
What's up?
Gotcha. What, nothing. Just recouping from the snowstorm over here.
Oh, how bad was it?
Well, I mean, for us, we had like 12 inches.
Oh my gosh. Did Ellis shovel?
10 to 12. No, shovel. We didn't shovel anything.
Oh.
That's the best part. Down here, we have seen snow before, but not like that. Like it stayed. Like the last of my snowman was still there yesterday, just like one little section of it. So, of course, I went outside to do something. I made it into a hard snowball, and when I walked in the door, Peter was sitting in his chair, and I beamed him with it.
You pelted Peter with a snowball?
That's the last of the snow.
What did he do?
He goes, "What? Are you crazy?" I go, "Of course I am." But it was really cute because we don't have snow. It was fun. I go, "Well, that's the last of the snow of 2025."
Did Ellis build a snowman?
Well, he watched it.
Oh, he won't touch the snow?
Did you even touch the snow, Ellis? He said he touched it.
I don't believe him. He'll revise history right before your eyes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He asked me. He said that you. What did he say about Lil Wayne?
Oh yeah, Lil Wayne is performing at Jazz Fest.
All right.
Actually, I took a screenshot of all the performers.
I will come to Jazz Fest.
Okay, good.
I'm not against that. As long as the pergola has Wi-Fi, I'm good.
You have Wi-Fi in
the pergola. Ellis, if I'm in the pergola, that's my safe zone. I'm not to be disturbed. Cabana. Pergola sounds funnier.
Yeah, that's the safe zone. That's exactly right. That's the safe zone.
Ellis, do you understand the rules?
No, it's the safe room.
No, like, can I lock the door? Does the cabana have a door with a lock on it from the inside, Stephanie?
Yes. It's a safe room.
I love that people are watching, but they're only hearing my side of the conversation. So, like, they're going to have to figure out what insanity you're agreeing to. So,
oh boy.
Ellis thinks that Ellis was saying that you thought I was boycotting Disney?
Yeah.
Why?
It sounded like you were boycotting them because you were pissed.
No, I'm gonna call out anybody that makes bad. Ellis, please calm down. I'm trying. It's like having the radio on in the background. I can't even hear myself think. No, I'm not. No, I don't know.
I was just listening maybe to part of whatever you were saying.
I am not boycotting Disney, but I'm really just trying and have been trying to diversify what I'm doing.
I know.
And I, as I just explained to Ellis, and I'm pretty sure he understood everything I said because he immediately asked me the same question after I was done my rant. But, the value in going to Disney right now is not there for a variety of reasons. And if the only value in going to Disney is to go live to make money off of my audience, then that's just not the place I want to be.
Uh-huh. There you go.
I'm trying to do better.
I get it.
In the world. I got an interview tomorrow. I'll text you later, and when I tell you who I'm interviewing tomorrow after the show, a pre-recorded interview, it's gonna be gangbusters. I'm so excited.
I can't wait to hear.
So.
Good.
But no boycott, not here. It's just more of just speaking truth. But he just told me. He told me my whole purpose is to go. Oh my God, he's yelling.
Okay, Alice, I'm talking.
Okay. That'll last 3 seconds.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, Roy.
Ellis, come here. Let me.
You on?
Oh Lord.
You want Ellis again?
Sure, I'll finish.
Okay. Here, Ellis. Go in the other room because I'm turning this thing on.
I was trying to say something to your mom, but you're yelling in the background. I couldn't even finish my conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying, okay. It's not a boycott. It's just a desire to change the pace.
Yeah.
But you immediately said if I go back into Disney and I don't stream, you would be upset. Which means
no, I wouldn't be that upset.
Not that upset, but you'd be like, bro, why didn't you live stream?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to be I don't want to be the marionette. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. Anyway, Ellis, I'll talk to you later. Thank you for calling.
Okay. All right.
Whew, my head is spinning. I love talking to Stephanie. She came on to say hi, and I was trying to finish the conversation with her, and he's yelling in the background, and you could tell she just gave up, and I gave up, and here we are. By the way, and it's very important that I remind you that in this new year, it is the perfect time to spice up your kitchen. Pampered Chef has all the goodies from spatulas and mandolins, amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and the coffee maker. The rubber band I was just playing with in my hand broke. Spice up your kitchen today. Go to Colleen Herman, pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. And with no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and incomplete or divided estate legal fights and fees. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law for a free consultation to discuss the options and tools you have available to protect your home, savings, and estate for those you love the most. To get started, send an email to russell@rklawpro.com, russell@rklawpro.com. And if you have last-minute shipping from the theme parks or you're local, go check out my friends at the UPS store located right behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road. That's 6526 Old Brick Road, the UPS store. And as always, William.bailey is available to help you with your travel needs. If you're looking to book a trip to Disney or a cruise or a Disney cruise or anywhere else in the world, William will provide a competitive, customizable experience for you at a great rate. Check out William Bailey Travel or fill out the form on my website, royces.com. William Bailey Travel for all your travel needs. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I forgot to slow down the teleprompter, Thank you to our callers. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Ellis. Thank you, Stephanie. Write down the number. We'll be back tomorrow morning. I always say I'll do 3 hours, but if the phones aren't lighting up, for me to sit here and talk in circles, it no longer becomes a quality conversation. I'll cut the live in a minute. And it'll give you the opportunity when I podcast it out to go listen to the phone calls and hear what Bree had to say. That was a fantastic conversation. Ellis, as always, lots of laughs there. So you can go check this out wherever you listen to your podcast, Under the Influence, and, of course, on YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next time.